Hello, Bl'Artagnan here, bringing you Crumbling, Sepulcher, the Dullahan fight, the Mog, story chapter, Lufenia boss. This isn't, strictly speaking, the easiest way to take this guy down, because I think at this point, most all of us know about the Yuffie cheese strategy where you can throw its HP poison back onto it. I actually used that to clear this because, ain't nobody got time for that. But I wanted to use something a little bit more conventional to try to get through this. And this is a very punishing boss with a lot of pretty annoying and brutal mechanics. So I am going to be doing something, I guess you could call it cheese strategy or non-interactive. Basically, the trick here, there are two kind of pieces to this strategy. One is Arciela, because if you put HP silence on the boss and manage to get it below 79% health before it has charged up its recast, then so long as you keep the HP silence active, it'll never act, because at 79%, if its recast isn't ready to go, its next action is always going to be an HP attack that it'll never break out of. So that's the first piece of the puzzle. And to that end, we're going to be using my buddy Rawlife's Ultimecia here to kind of clear a bunch of turns and give us the wiggle room we need to get it to 79%. Raw actually put an E-Sphere, Ultimecia's own E-Sphere on her, meaning we're going to get a handy little defense drop there, which I'll be taking advantage of for most of the fight. You'll also notice I started with using Squall's Terra Call, dropping a speed down, which combines with Leviathan and with Arciela's speed down to provide, well, you're going to see, it's going to take quite a while before this thing's turn actually shows up again for us, which is great. The other thing to manage is the orb, and the orb needs water damage. There aren't too many ways to do that, so we have Aerith using Rydia Call, which she can extend infinitely using, or indefinitely at least, using her LD's Seal Evil buff. So, and then, finally, of course, we got Squall, who's just going to be doing Squall things. So, right now we're capped on debuffs, although one of those is the Water Imperil from Rydia, which we don't actually need. So at some point I could probably get away with dropping Capacity Break on them. And I see that there. I'm actually going to go for Skill 1 in order to get Fast Cast going to provide some additional regen and battery for the party. You'll also notice since the boss starts with their recast, the party starts with Leviathan's regeneration buff for Brave Regen, which is nice. So really, we're just going to be hitting this guy as hard as we can for most of the fight here. Part of why I didn't drop Capacity Break there is I didn't want to push off the speed down, although I don't remember. I think that the Imperil actually is what would have been pushed off there. I was being kind of overly cautious because, truth be told, the defense down debuff from Rawlife's Ultimecia caught me off guard a bit, and I was like, wait a second, that's too many debuffs, what am I doing? It ended up coming in handy though, because it meant I can save my Jack Call for a bit later in the fight once it's a bit tankier, because you're seeing I'm still hitting mostly cap damage even past the 79% mark. Maybe not with Aerith, but okay, so maybe we're not hitting cap damage outside of Squall, but he's still hitting cap damage, and that's what we're looking for. The other two are here less for damage, more for support. And so we're going to hold off on using Jack until they're past the 50% mark, when they've increased their stats, so the defense down from Jack will be even more noticeable. So mostly I'm just, trying to pick the right move, the quote-unquote optimal skill to use. So for Arciela here, I have room to use the EX because I have the one turn before I need to reapply the HP silence again. In Squall's case, my rule of thumb is if I have, close to cap brave, I'm going to, use Solid Barrel, otherwise I use either Renzakuken, or in this case I use the LD to get to that third stack. So now we've reapplied the HP Silence. The annoying thing about this guy is he cannot be delayed by breaks. They really seem to, for the most part, I think it's weird. If you get the sense that they want you to have to interact with the boss because he can't be delayed or launched in any capacity. No breaks, no re-break shenanigans. You can't do Eye Brave down, anything like that. And he cleanses all of his debuffs, including frame ones, on the recast. So you think like, okay, they want like a really interactive fight here. But they left a couple of things in. They left this HP Silence. I guess you'd call it I don't want to call it a bug, but this HP Silence thing where you can kind of lock him out. And of course the Yuffie thing, it's like, what were they thinking, leaving that in? I'm happy that they did, because, well, for one thing, it doesn't really hurt us being able to actually beat a fight without having to pull. And honestly, just ever since seeing HP Poison as a mechanic, I thought to myself, it'd be really funny to throw that back on a boss if it was percentage based. And so I'm kind of just glad that it exists in the game for one fight. I don't want it to become a habit because that'd be really stupid, but it's a funny enough joke for the community that I don't mind. Now I'm using Terra's LD call with Squall for his burst phase here. My thinking was I wanted something kind of like Cam Call, but I didn't want to take the extra debuff slot since Adel wouldn't be doing anything here. It would just be taking up space that could be going to that defense down or to the HP Silence, more importantly, which is not framed and is essential. I think Terra's Call, it's still good, still gives decent refund. Probably not as much as Cam Call would be giving, since Cam Call gives you benefit based, it's based on HP damage dealt, meaning any battery you get is kind of affecting that, whereas with this, it's just based on your hits, which can be reduced by Brave damage reduction, things like that. That said, it doesn't take up a debuff slot, and for this situation here, that's what I wanted. You'll notice we finally put the Jack Call on him because the defense down and the speed down have fallen off. Or at least the defense down has. I don't know if the speed down has yet. We're just going to try to go ahead and close out this fight. Arciela has plenty of HP Silence left. So long as I'm not a doofus and forget to reapply it, we should be fine. Yeah, kind of curious the things they left in this fight. When I got, you get the sense that they really wanted this to be kind of a interactive, kind of a slugfest between you and this really hard-hitting boss with these really punishing mechanics. You get the sense they really want to sell Mog with his cleanse, with his healing, with his water damage, all these things that you'd need to deal with this guy. And then they left these kind of gaping back doors with Yuffie and with HP Silence, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just, I guess, a little confused about. I'm like, what was the thinking there? Still, the fact that we can still beat this relatively stress-free without resorting to a straight-up pseudo-bug is nice. I know I'm not the only person who's used a similar strategy. In fact, I think most strategies have done everything in their power to ignore the big freeze attack that he normally does once he goes below 80%. I'm on the fence about whether I want to attempt it, but we'll see how bored I am over the course of the week. With the Abyss coming, I might not want to invest too much time into fighting a really frustrating boss. So I might just take my my pseudo fair clear here as my contribution to the efforts. I am kind of curious to see how some characters would fare here. I tried bringing Camlin out and seeing if that would help. Turns out he can't trigger his Frostblade or Glacification Plus if he doesn't deal any Brave damage. So that was kind of awkward. See here, I'm trying to just finish out the fight using the summon. I remembered I hadn't used the Jack Call, and I wanted to hit him with the Jack Call before the Jack debuff went away, which is why I used it in the summon, even though normally you don't want to do that. Probably should have done that way sooner. But other than that, we're almost there. It's been pretty uneventful. mostly because we've kind of locked him down the whole time. I know I'm not going to be the only person to say, like, it's not that this is an easy fight, it's that there are ways to cheese the fight. So, I might go back and try and fight it, you know, quote-unquote legit, but it doesn't sound like it'll be a whole lot of fun, so we'll see. In the meantime, it is kind of nice that I get to use 3 of my favorite characters. All 3 of these guys are a lot of fun to use. I mean, okay, Aerith is actually kind of boring to use in my opinion, but her effects are so useful that it kind of makes up for it. And, you know, Aerith just as a Final Fantasy VII fan, I had a soft spot for her. The other 2, just good times. Here we go, we're just about ready to close this out. One more attack should do it. Alright, here we go. So that's the Dullahan fight, without using Yuffie at least. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, maybe give the video a like, consider subscribing for more content like this, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.